Hello everyone. Today we are going to understand what is performance appraisal. Before that, let's understand what is performance. Performance is defined in simple terms the achievement of quantified objectives. Performance is not only a matter of what people achieve but also how they are achieving it. Performance includes skills, creativity, perseverance, potential, experience, and responsibility. Now let's look at the concept of performance appraisal. Performance appraisal, as defined by W. Casio, as the systematic description of employees' job relevant strength and weaknesses. Performance appraisal is conducted once in every 6 months or once in a year. The basic idea of the performance appraisal is to evaluate the performance of the employee, giving a feedback and helping them to identify the areas where improvement is required so that the training could be provided. Performance appraisal also helps to give incentives and bonuses to encourage employees. After understanding the definition of performance appraisal, now let's try and understand the methods of performance appraisal. Performance appraisal, as defined by W. Casio, is the systematic description of employees' job relevant strength and weaknesses. Companies use different methods of appraisals for identifying and appraising the skills and qualities of their employees. The different methods used for appraisal are as follows. Initially, we used the traditional method, but nowadays we also use modern methods. In traditional methods, we have the checklist method, the confidential report method, critical incident method, ranking method, graphic rating scale, narrated essay, and 360 degrees appraisal. Now let's look into the traditional method. Traditional method of performance appraisal has been used by companies for very long time. A common feature of these methods is they are all relatively simple and involve appraisal by one senior. Now to begin with the checklist method. In this method, the senior, the boss, is given a list of questions about the juniors. These questions are followed by check boxes. The supervisor or the superior has to put a tick mark in one of the boxes. This method can be explained by giving various examples. To quote, there would be questions like, does the employee have leadership skills? It is yes or no the person who is doing the test or checking has to put. Second question could be, is the employee capable of group efforts? Third, has the employee shown analytical skills on the job? So in short, these are yes no questions. You need to just put in Y or an N. As seen in the above examples, we see a questionnaire containing questions is given to the senior. This method is an extremely simple method and does not involve a lot of time. The same set of questionnaires can be given for every employee so that there is uniformity in selecting employees. Now the second method which talks about is the confidential method or confidential report method. This method is a very popular in government departments to appraise IS officers and other high level officials. In this method, the senior or the boss writes a report about the juniors, giving him details about the performance about the employees. The positive and the negative traits, responsibilities handled on the job, and recommendations for future incentives or promotions. The report is kept highly confidential and access to the report is limited. The third method in the traditional method is critical incident method. In this method, critical or important incidents which have taken place on this job are noted down along with employees' behavior and reaction in all these situations. Both positive and negative incidents are mentioned. This method is followed by an analysis of the person his abilities and talent, recommendations for the future, incentives, and promotions. Next comes the ranking method. In this method, ranks are given to employees based on their performance. There are different methods of ranking employees: simple ranking method, alternative ranking method, paired or comparison method. Simple ranking method. In simple ranking method, ranks in several order from the best employee are given. Example, if we have rank 10 best employees, we start with the first best employee and give him the first rank. This is followed by the second best and so on till all 10 have been given ranks. Next is alternate ranking. In this method, the serial alternatives or alternates between the best and the worst employees are given. The best employee is given rank 1 and then we move to the worst employee and give him rank 10 against to the second best employee and give him the second rank and so on. Paired comparison. In this method, each and every person in this group, department or team is compared with each other person in the team, group or department. The comparison is made on certain criteria and finally ranks are given. This method is superior because it compares each and every person on certain qualities and provides a ranking on the basis. Next coming up is the graphic rating scale. Graphic rating scales refers to using specific factors to appraise people. The entire appraisal is presented in the form of a chart. The chart contains certain columns which indicate qualities which are being appraised and other columns which specify the rank to be given. For example, employee A, quality of work, quantity of work, intelligence is excellent, very good, good, satisfactory, poor, and so on. The senior has to put a tick mark for a particular quality along with the ranks. Such charts are prepared for every employee according to the department in which they work. Sometimes the qualities which are judged may change depending upon the department. Next comes the narrated essay. In this method, the senior or the boss is supposed to write a narrative essay describing the qualities of his juniors. He may describe the employee's strengths and weaknesses, analyticals, abilities, etc. The narrative essay ends with a recommendation for future promotion or for further incentives. After the traditional methods, now let's look into the modern methods. Modern methods of appraisal are being increasingly used by companies. Nowadays, one of the striving feature that appraisal involves is the opinion of many people about the employee, and in some cases, psychological tests are used to analyze the ability of employees. Now, the modern method begins with the role analysis. In this method of appraisal, the person who is being appraised is called the focal point, and the member of his group who are appraising him are called the role set members. So, the member who is being appraised is the focal point and the person who is appraising him are called the role set members. The role set members identify KRA, that is key result areas, and they look for the improvement. Areas where you want improvement are called KRAs, which have to be achieved by the employee. The KRA and their improvement will determine the amount of incentives and benefits which the employee will receive in future. The appraisal depends upon what role set members have to say about the employees. So the role set members play an important role as they are going to rate the appraised person. Next is assessment centers. Assessment centers, or also called as ACs, are places where the employees are assessed on certain qualities, talents and skills which they possess. This method is being used for selection as well as appraisal. The people who attend assessment centers are given management games, psychological tests, puzzles, questionnaires about different management related situations, etc. Based on their performance in these tests and games, appraisal is done. The third is management by objective. This method was given by Peter Drucker in 1974. It was intended to be a method of group discussion making. It can be used for performance appraisal also. In this method, we see that all the members of the department, starting from the lowest level employee to the highest level employee, together discusses fixed targets, goals to be achieved, plan for achieving these goals, and work together to achieve them. The seniors in the department get the opportunity to observe their junior, group efforts, communication skills, knowledge levels, interest levels, etc. based on the appraisal is done. Next is the behavioral anchored rating scale. Behavioral anchored rating scale is a method that appraises is done to test the attitude of the employee towards his job. Normally, people with positive approach or attitude view are given more importance, and the performance is differently and definitely compared to the people with negative approach. Thereafter, we have the psychological testing. In this method, clinically approved psychological tests are conducted to identify and appraise the employee. A feedback is given to the employee and areas of improvement are identified. Next comes the human resource audit or accounting. In this method, the expenditure on the employee is compared with the income received due to the efforts of the employee. A comparison is made to find out the utility of the employee to the organization. The appraisal informs the employee about his contribution to the company and what is expected in future. Last being the 360 degrees appraisal. In this method of appraisal, an all-round approach is adopted. Feedback about the employee is taken from the employee himself, his superiors, his juniors, his colleagues, customers he deals with, financial institutions and other people he deals with effectively. Based on all these observations, an appraisal is made and feedback is given. This is one of the most popular methods of appraisal. So dear friends, today we have looked into performance appraisal, the definition, the meaning and the methods. Very soon we would also discuss and come up with a new video which talks about process of performance appraisal. Thank you.